I respect the vision. This movie is well shot, well lit, and has a vibe that is all its own. Going into this, I had seen one trailer months ago for this movie, and to be honest, I had forgot most of the content of that trailer. So, needless to say, I was going into this pretty much blind, with no preconceived notions of what this movie was going to be. I was pleasantly surprised for most of the movie, and they used a gimmick that worked really well to start out with. But as it went along, the gimmick became more and more forced. Let's get into it. A quick recap. Alan Ritchson is an ex-military blue-collar worker in 1970s Detroit. He has fallen in love with a woman and they are very happy together. He even decides to marry her. There's only one problem. Through flashback, we learn that she used to be the girlfriend of a gangster and he is not ready to let her go. So, the gangster bad guy person frames Alan Ritchson and gets him sent to prison. The gangster bad guy dude then proceeds to get the woman back and marry her because she believes Ritchson is guilty. The bad guy taunts Ritchson in prison, sending pictures of him and the woman together, so Ritchson calls up his buddies from the military and they help him break out. Then they go to rescue the girl. She finds out that Ritchson is innocent and that the bad guy framed him, so she tries to kill the bad guy, but it doesn't work. While they rescue her, the bad guy accidentally shoots her, because of course he does. So Ritchson and his buddies go for pure revenge. Big final act with explosions, fights, blood, knives, guns, and cars. And that's it, then it's over. A pretty basic story of revenge. Oh yeah, the gimmick I was talking about earlier. There is basically no dialogue in the entire movie. I mean, at this point, I've talked more in this video than everyone combined in the entire film. The good. Visually, this was a great film. Cinematic is the word that comes to mind. From the color palette to camera angles to the shot choices, this film just felt right. The acting was on point from all involved. Since no one could talk, the physicality of the acting and the maximizing of facial expressions had to dance on a fine line. It never became too much, though. Everyone knew the assignment and delivered. The soundtrack was perfect. It was primarily comprised of hits from the 70s woven throughout various sequences. When the original score did come in, it was dramatic, but still fit within the 70s vibe the filmmakers were going for. Finally, the entire film was very consistent. They went for a stylized 70s look and feel, and nothing ever took me out of that style. The clothes, hair, cars, smoking streets, neon, prison, acting, and violence all felt correct to the world the film had created. The bad. The gimmick of not having dialogue, or barely any dialogue, worked really well for the first act. I was actually really enjoying it for the first 20 or 30 minutes. There was a very clear point when I honestly thought that they were going to have them start speaking. Then I realized that the rest of the movie was going to be silent. It became tiresome and more forced as the movie went on. Some scenes worked, most scenes didn't though, and after a while it became boring. It was a bold decision to not have the characters talk, and I think if, after the first act, they had taken the time to write some awesome dialogue, that this movie could have gone down as a classic. As it is, I don't know if it will make any money, even on a budget of only $30 million. The other big problem with this movie was that it was so simplistic and kind of predictable. After 40 minutes, you will know how it ends, generally. I believe that the simplicity of the plot goes back to not having any dialogue. It is difficult enough to tell a simple story with no talking, let alone telling a story with twists and turns along the way. Dialogue is a very important part of telling a story. What the characters say, and more importantly, don't say, is a big part of character development. When you take that away from the characters, you end up with rather simple characters who have to be very easy to read. The actors did a good job playing the characters to the max, but I think that they would have had so much more to work with and would have been able to develop much deeper characters if they had been given dialogue. Character motivations were kind of weird sometimes. They tried to show that the bad guy really loved the woman, which makes me wonder why he bothered messing with Ritchson. Why didn't he just take her and live happily ever after? As for Alan Ritchson's character, he started out strong, but as the movie went along, he stayed more and more obsessed with this woman who had moved on and married her former abuser. It just didn't have much meaning when she said she loved Ritchson and then married the bad guy. If she had been forced to, or kidnapped, I think it would have been more understandable. But in the end, she is just a love mercenary, going with whoever can make her happy in the moment. My final thoughts. Motor City was, overall, an art piece. I put it here on the chart. I say it was an art fart because I don't believe that the motivation of making this movie was to tell the best story that the filmmakers were able to tell. They were trying to make a movie with no dialogue. The filmmakers were serving themselves first by deciding to have the characters be silent. This movie would have been elevated so much by having speaking parts. As it is, this was an art piece. Go and watch it if you're interested in seeing it for the gimmick, but you won't lose anything by waiting for it on streaming. Tell me what you think in the comments, though, and as always, be excellent, my friend.